All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
I see we have lots of comments already, which is really exciting. Thanks for
nice.
showing up.
As usual.
Yeah, as usual.
Whoa.
Wow, guys.
So
like
how's
more-
everybody doing? Oh, what's up? What's up?
No, nothing.
Nothing. Okay. How's everybody doing tonight? And did you finish the reading? Did you go ahead? Looking at Kristen here.
Maybe just a teensy bit.
I was good this week.
All right.
I think I technically read, I read to that point before our last live stream, so I didn't know we were doing stuff. So I just read, and then I happened to stop 2 chapters ahead. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I was really behind and then just crammed in the last few days and got right to chapter 20.
We switched places this time.
Yeah.
He crammed and I didn't.
I crammed a little bit. Yeah, I finished last night, but I had a good chunk to read, but it worked out.
You finished last night?
Yeah.
Whoa! We were in like the same place.
I know.
Like,
I think
2 days ago.
I think we kind of were. Yeah.
I only finished today. I was doing sprints with people in the Facebook group. I don't know if Kayla's here, but we were sprinting.
Nice.
And Rich was there too.
I agree. Fun. Victoria's hashtag is the bomb.
Yes.
I'm sure other people feel the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm just going to start with a few announcements and introductions and such, and then we will get started. So this is Stormalong 2020. This is the discussion of chapters 1 through 20 of the book Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. I'm sure most of you are aware of that if you are here tonight. So we're preparing for the 4th book in the Stormlight Archives, which is coming out in November, called Rhythm of War, and we're all very excited about it. So we'll be talking about some predictions and stuff like that, not for necessarily Rhythm of War yet, but just everybody who's reading along.
Yeah.
And yeah, and we're going to have some discussion questions, but as always, feel free to chat about whatever you want in the chat. And if you want to answer one of the discussion questions, it really helps us out if you use the label, which will follow every question, so that I can pick out your answers and display them on the screen. And as you can see tonight, we are missing one member, Michael. He was not able to be here tonight, so we're going to be missing him, of course. And his playlist will be linked down below. And he made some cool videos about Stormlight, and I highly recommend it. And co-hosts, would you guys like to introduce yourselves and your channels?
Victoria, you're
sure. Okay, I'm Victoria. Hello. I have my channel's called Musical Bookworm, and it's mostly book content, sometimes movies and music, just media in general. So yeah.
And I am Ryan, and
I'm Kristen.
And we are from the channel Seeking Stories, where we're kind of like Victoria. We talk about books and movies, sometimes movies more than books, but Stormlight has helped us kind of even that out a little bit and do more bookish content.
So Victoria actually composed a song for Kaladin and Syl, and that is, I think I linked it down below, but if not, her channel is linked down below for sure. And it's my favorite song, so you guys should check it out.
It's really
That's
good.
So sweet. That's very kind.
Yeah, of course. Oh, and Ryan just did a video breaking the Way of Kings down into a movie, like how you would do it for a movie, which is just really crazy hard to me. He was so detailed, and it was really, really well done. So that is also linked in his playlist down below. He has his own playlist.
That video is so impressive.
Yeah.
Filming and editing.
Yeah, 10 hours filming and editing. So
oh man,
hectic.
That's crazy.
I don't think we're doing that again anytime soon.
It's very impressive. I would even, if you spent more time on it, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I feel like that's a more than 10-hour video. That's efficient.
Yeah.
10 hours is efficient for that kind of project.
I did get a lot of comments saying, but if you only knew what happened next, you wouldn't have made some of the changes you made. So I'm sure I'll rip it apart in a few months.
I thought that was pretty well done for having only read the first book. I actually thought a lot of, even some of the like really big changes that you made, I was like, actually, that's pretty astute. I thought.
I forget who it was, but someone recommended that once Rhythm of War is out, I'll go back and like redo that video and like in hindsight, like how would
If
we
anything
do
would
it? Yeah, if
change.
anything would change. So
Ooh,
if
yeah,
I've got
cool.
the mental stamina for it in 2021, I may do that.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool idea. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that idea.
Yeah, me too. I think that would be a great idea. Okay, so let's see what else. I think that's all for the introductions. So we're going to get started on some questions. And if you want to answer them, like I said, you can use the label and you can talk about whatever you want down below as well. And we'll be happy to talk with you. That's what we're excited about, is talking about this with everybody here. So
Yes.
share your thoughts. Okay, so our first question is, are you hooked? When did you get hooked? What scenes grabbed your attention? And did anything shock you? I know that's a lot of questions, but yeah. All
Are you
about the
hooked?
feels.
Are you hooked? No, I absolutely hate it. I'm just kidding.
Well, I will say, I mean, this book has a distinct advantage of you've already read the first book of a series. Presumably, you enjoyed it, and that's why you've gone on to the second one. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, yeah, I think it has the potential to hook you from pretty much the first page.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think I got more. Well, I guess it was somewhere in the prologue, probably for me. I don't remember exactly what part, but pretty earlier than the first book.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I agree. The world building is already there. And so you could jump into action like right away. So I think that has been a really fun part of this book so far for me. It's just been like a lot more momentum going forward, just because the groundwork is already laid, right? I felt like Way of Kings.
Yes.
It took me like half the book to really feel acclimated into the world. So now it's like, all right, we kind of know where we're at. Now let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the first 20 chapters just as much as I hated the first 20 chapters of Way of Kings. It's just, kind of like, Kristen and Victoria said, it was just, you have the world building set up, so you're just off to the races at that point, and you love the characters, you have I think somewhat of an idea of what the plot is at this point, maybe, and you just kind of dash off and have fun with it.
Yeah. I think I became the most mentally engaged once Yasna started having that conversation with the assassin. Like once their conversation started, because that dialogue was so interesting. What they say. So I think that's when my mind really like latched on and didn't get distracted by like
in the prologue,
understanding descriptions and stuff. Yeah. Spreadsplaining.
Yes.
That was really interesting.
We've learned so much that we didn't know before in this first section. The Shadesmar, we've just learned a lot about Shadesmar. We've had some more interactions with it and the Spren and kind of how they function with humanity. And that's been really fun to learn. Yeah,
it's fun because like the whole first book kind of teased us like what's Spren? Like we don't really know. And then the second one is like, here you go. And of course there's a lot more that we don't know that's kind of implied. But at the same time, it's like, here are some answers to your questions you've had for 1,000 pages.
It's nice not to feel like we're in the dark completely. We have a little bit of light on it.
Yeah. I feel like Sanderson almost like owed his fans that at this point. Like after like
you better give us information.
Like, I have to start paying this off a little bit.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys just said. I feel like Words of Radiance really built on everything that Way of Kings did. And maybe that's why for me it was my favorite, because it really just launched from the very beginning. And like Rich said, there was more than one crisis for Shallan in very early on,
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a pretty incredible opening 20 chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I'm excited to talk about Shalon with you guys because
Yes.
she's so interesting, I think. And yeah, there's just so much mystery there about like
She's
her
really
backstory
good
and everything.
character.
Yeah.
Well, coincidentally, one of our questions is about Shalon, so maybe we should
Perfect.
just talk about her. So this is Shalon's backstory book, and if you have any thoughts or predictions about her or her backstory, please share, because she is an interesting character.
Yeah.
I was super interested to find that it sounds like her brother and her father have shard blades, potentially. Definitely her brother, maybe her father. It's like that's multiple shard blades in her family.
I don't
Or-
remember if the father does, but yeah, the brother
Yeah.
definitely. Does the father have one? I can't remember.
I
now.
know
think
Helleran
we're
does.
thinking he might because of that line in
The first
book where it's like Shalon's thinking like 10 heartbeats to bring forth the fruit of her.
Well, I was
whatever
thinking in the
that
first
you weren't thinking of?
flashback for Shalon, where she's like when she views that kind of slaughter and her father's like carrying her, and there's a line about her mother's eyes, and I was thinking maybe burned out eyes, like the shard blade gives.
Oh, yes, that's
yeah.
right. I forgot about the eyes.
So that's I mean,
Okay.
that was my only clue. So I could be
Yeah,
completely wrong,
forgot
but
about that.
No, that's a good clue. I think that's a good clue there.
Mhm.
Very possible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, prediction.
I thought about that.
Oh, I didn't think about it. That's interesting. Yeah.
Well, because in that flashback where you have the dead bodies, there's a really big question mark as to who actually did the killing. Because
yeah.
is it because a lot of us want to assume that it's her dad because that's what everyone else accuses him of, but could it have been her?
I guess I won't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting theory. I hadn't even thought of
Yeah.
that.
Well,
But
because
that would
there's
make sense.
where is that? What chapter is that? There's a line that made me wonder. Where is her?
I do like what Leslie says right there. Her elder brother had the blade. I think he was killed and Shalon received it from him. Because I think in book 1 it's alluded to that her brother is at least missing, if not dead. Or presumed dead, but not confirmed.
Mm-hmm. I had the same thoughts that she got that blade that we think she has from her brother.
Yeah.
I had the same thoughts, Leslie.
I just can't wait until the point we get to see Shalon actually like use it, because it's been teased so much at this point, like that she has this weapon that she doesn't want to use, and at some point she has to pull it out or summon it.
It needs to be either confirmed or denied.
Yeah, I think Shalon has some serious trauma in her backstory. Stuff like this is like,
For sure.
yikes. Thanks
Yeah.
for the quotes, Rich. I appreciate your quotes everywhere.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shalon's trauma. I think it's interesting how Sanderson ties her memory to her trauma. It's almost like she has blocked out chunks of her past, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's just a very realistic thing that even happens in real life with real trauma victims, is just
Right.
like complete blanks for certain events.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because like the way Sanderson portrays her in Way of Kings, it's like, oh, this innocent person who knows nothing about the world. And even though she might not know nothing about, or she might not know anything about other like cultures and how the world operates, she definitely has a lot of experiences which she is starting to apply based on what she has experienced and what Yasna has taught her. It's interesting seeing those two worlds mesh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I'm liking Shalon too. I'm liking her more in this book because we're learning more about her. But I also can see. I at the beginning of Way of Kings, I remember some people saying like, I don't like Shalon, or like having some strong feelings against Shalon, and I can kind of see that too, because the way she like pretends to like know what she's talking about, like sometimes like rubs me the wrong way. She'll just be like, I'm going to take charge and boss you around. And I'm like, who are you to boss everyone around?
Yeah.
So I can kind of see that opinion too. But I think overall, I'm liking her a lot.
Yeah, same. I'm always excited to go back to her chapters in this book. It's partially because, one, she's a cool character, but two, we find out the most about the plot so far through her storyline, and that's always fascinating.
Yeah.
All right. We have lots of Shalon talk in the comments. Thank you, guys. Seems like Shalon is growing on almost everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's just, I'm not sure if we're ready to talk about Yasna yet, but something about Yasna related to Shalon.
Go for it.
Okay. So, Yasna dying, or supposedly dying. It's interesting. It was a really good take, I think, by Sanderson, because up until this point, Shalon has had Yasna to kind of lead and guide her, and Shalon would be a very boring character if it just went on for books and books and books.
Yeah.
Like, she needs to be set loose on her own. And what I immediately thought of was the original Star Wars movie. And the original plan was not to have Obi-Wan Kenobi die. But midway through filming, George Lucas realized, Luke needs to go on the rest of his journey by himself. So Alec Guinness, the actor who played Obi-Wan, he's a British and he's a knight, so I'm sure him throwing a fit wasn't like an American, teenager throwing a fit. But apparently he wasn't very pleased with that, being killed off part of the way through filming. But then George Lucas explained to him that, this is for the betterment of the story, for Luke Skywalker's character development, that he needs to lose his mentor so he can grow as a character. And I feel like that's exactly what Sanderson has done with Shalon and Yasna. Shalon can only grow so far with her mentor there before she has to start applying the things that Yasna is teaching her, and basically we'll have exponential growth if Yasna isn't there. So I feel like it's kind of the same, I guess, two sides of the same coin in a way. Losing your mentor to grow as a character.
Well, and sometimes some people need it that sudden, because it happens extremely suddenly and without warning. And I think sometimes people need that like push out of the nest, like, don't just like baby step your way, but sometimes you just need a shove and like into the deep end. And that's what she gets. Yeah. And some people thrive.
Literally into the deep end.
True.
Yeah.
You're doing.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree. Shalon needed to be on her own for a while for her to come into her own like understanding of her powers and everything. And she'll be, I think eventually like she'll be stronger for it. But I was surprised about Yasna's death because it was very unexpected to me. I just didn't expect her to be gone so soon, because I thought one of you guys said like one of the books in the series to come is supposed to be like Yasna flashbacks. So I feel like one of you said that, either Ryan or Michael said
Michael said that last week. Book 10 is supposed to be Yasna's flashbacks.
Oh,
but
interesting.
Sanderson also said that a book can have a character's flashbacks with the character already being dead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then I guess that would make sense then. But I'm like, oh, sad. Yeah. I'm going to miss Yasna. Well, justice for Yasna.
Should I give my theory, or is this too early?
Oh, go for theories. Absolutely.
So I was like, kind of the same thing as you, Victoria. I'm like, this is too soon. Like this, like you can't build up Yasna's character and kill her off right at the beginning of book 2. So there is something in the back of the book, like after like in the appendixes, like not in the actual story. It's called the Ars Arcanum, and it says it's called the 10 Surges. And it's so right before Yasna dies, she and Shalon talk about how they each kind of reportedly have two kind of like powers in a way. They both share soul casting, and Yasna's like, "Oh, I was hoping that Shalon, you would have the same second power as I do, but you don't." But Yasna never gets around to saying what her second power is. And there's under the 10 surges, there's one called the Progression, the surge of growth and healing and regrowth. So my theory is that Yasna did some fancy voodoo stuff to
use that surge.
Yeah, use that surge somehow. And I don't know what that even could mean. I don't know if it's like soul casting yourself somewhere and regenerating in a different form or what have you, but I just don't think she's dead.
Yeah. And I think someone pointed out in the comments that I think probably pretty obvious is that we don't see the body. It's that whole bit about Shalon expects to run into it and she doesn't, where it's supposed to be. So
into which body? Into
into
Yasna's?
Yasna, like when she stumbles into the room after she's killed.
Oh,
she
I
tricks
thought
the
she
guy
saw
who-
the body and it was like stabbed, like to
She-
the
Yeah,
floor.
I thought she saw them stab.
when he stab it,
Yasna.
but then when she stumbles into it's like dark and the guys have left and gone up to the top.
Okay.
It's there's a line where it's like in her head and she stumbles in expecting to stumble over the body and it's not there and she's like, wait, where'd it go? So it's this
Oh,
kind of odd question of like, why is the body not where it's supposed to be? So
oh, okay. I missed
Yeah.
that this time.
Yeah, I may have missed that too.
Whoops.
Yeah. Well, it's so they thought she jumped overboard. Heart thumping, Shallan felt her way to Yasna's cabin, expecting at any moment to trip over the woman's corpse on the floor. She didn't. Had the men dragged it above, and then that's kind of where it just
and then it
leaves
goes on.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, so there could be. I could definitely get behind the theory then that maybe she is either not dead or going to come back. Maybe I hope. I want her to come back.
I think she's going to be like the reveal at the end of the book.
Yeah, maybe.
They'll probably find Shallan will find what's that city they're looking for? The one that starts with a U.
Urithiru?
Urithiru.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
I
Urithiru.
love
There we
finding lost civilization stories. I think it's like my favorite trope of all time.
go. Me
And
too.
It's so good, and I think Yasna's going to be there waiting for or Shallan at the end of the book,
Maybe she'll come back as a force ghost.
or that
Wait, different lore.
crossover.
Ooh,
Ooh, yeah,
that's an interesting thought.
maybe Yasna
Oh yeah,
more now.
that could be.
Oh, yeah, this was the quote I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like, ugh, that sounds pretty bad.
Sounds
Very-
pretty final,
visceral
pretty definite.
Although we wouldn't really put it past Yasna to orchestrate this whole thing, just to kind of hide herself from the the Ghost Bloods or whatever,
Mhm.
and to just kind of
Oh,
on onto her own
Oh,
journey.
okay.
that's another theory.
Yes,
probably
we
completely
do
wrong.
have another a master trader actually faking things in the Risen
Oh.
Yeah.
interlude. So
Yes.
we have seen the faking thing, so
We have.
we'll see.
How do you pronounce it? Is it Risen or Risen, or what'd you say, Christy?
Ricin?
I have no
Risen
idea. I was
sounds-
saying risen in my head, but
That's what I was saying
Me too.
I don't know what I was saying.
Yeah, isn't that Edge Dancer is about her, right? Stormlight 2.5.
I don't know.
Michael was
that
saying it?
one's about Lift, who's
Oh, okay.
another character that
Yeah.
will
Uh,
be
heard the name.
important.
I
Yeah.
loved the Risen interlude in general. I thought it was so colorful and exotic, and I like the interludes that take us somewhere completely different in Roshar and different cultures that we meet. And then I don't know if you guys caught the Amian character. We had met an Amian before. I think is that his name?
Yeah.
Amian.
Yeah.
We had met him before in Way of Kings.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was the same Amian character or a different one. So I found that to be a fun little Easter egg there too.
Yeah.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I remember. I thought it was the same guy. Just the way they described him.
I thought it might be.
Because of the markings on. He was always writing stuff on his skin, and then he was always based on the bit we got from the first book. He's always finding himself in trouble, and so I figured. I mean, this is something that would have happened to him. He ends up strung up for some random, whatever
thing, yeah.
troublemaker. Finds his way around the world.
Interesting.
Yeah, I
That
thought
could
maybe
be, I
it could be
wonder.
the same character too. Yeah.
Mhm.
I thought it was, but
The blue
Something to
skin
get
thing
those
was
giant-
reminding me of something. So I
What was
don't
that?
remember. The blue skin was reminding me of something, but
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
I just want to see them ride those giant turtles into battle or something.
They do, but yeah, we don't see it. So
Yeah.
I
I
don't know.
think those are the Shattered Plains.
Yeah, turtles
I-
instead of chulls.
I
Well, we'll
like
see.
I liked the setting of that interlude, but the actual story of it was I found really frustrating, like to experience, just because it was frustrating. I don't like being frustrated. But
because the whole setup.
Yeah, like not the setup. The setup, we're finding it was a setup, made it better. But her whole experience of doing the whole negotiation, it was just because it was just, I don't know. The negotiation part was frustrating to read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Can we get over this?
Well, think of what you like for Risen.
Right?
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Oh, it was sad.
It was sad.
Yeah, I liked the cobbler's interlude too, but it was very, very sad.
Has anybody read that short story by Leo Tolstoy, Where God Is, Love Is? The Codex Cantina did like a video on it. Okay, because that reminded me this interlude reminded me so much of that.
Yeah,
it was like the same character except it ends completely different. Than Leo
I have to
Tolstoy.
check that out. I'm so backed up on Codex videos. Don't tell Luna.
I'm backed up on everybody's videos.
Yeah.
I just need to like sit down and watch a million videos.
I need like a day.
Yeah.
Plot predictions and theories.
Yes. Do we have any other predictions that people have?
I've got two, but I'll wait to see what Kristen.
You need to wait.
I don't remember, honestly. I'm trying to remember where we stopped because I did read 2 chapters ahead, so I don't want to say anything that's not relevant yet.
So I don't think Shalon is going to marry Adeline. Like I don't think that's gonna happen. I feel like that will just be weird.
Yeah.
Anyone else? I don't think that's
gonna
happen.
Really? It sounds weird. Maybe that's
You said.
I don't know.
You said, okay. Did you say Shalon and Adeline weren't getting together? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I don't see that happening for some reason. I thought that whole setup of like, also it was weird how Shalon just like was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'll marry that guy.
Yeah.
I thought that was really strange for her character to do. I don't know. It didn't make a lot of sense to me.
That was really interesting because Yasna was like, don't you feel like you're going to be like tied down? I forget what the words she used, but she was like expecting Shalon to be like really like, and Shalon was like, it's not like you're selling me into slavery, so I'm cool with it.
I just found that a surprising reaction from her.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna be interesting when she shows up in the Shattered Plains, like without Yasna, without like anything. You'd be like, I'm the one you're supposed to marry.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that.
What's cracking me up about that is that she's making all these promises to these people as she's going, and she's like, "Yeah,
I know.
When we get to the Shattered Plains, like I got you covered."
Yeah.
And then
I know.
I'm like, what's gonna happen when she actually arrives? And they're like, "Who are you?" And then she's made all these promises to people of like riches and stuff.
Yeah,
that's so true.
Yeah.
Shalon's POV is stressful.
Yeah, it is. It is stressful. I'm there. I'm stressed about her story a little bit. She's making me nervous.
But Pattern's washing off for her. All's good.
I love Pattern.
I
like him
Yeah.
as his friend. I love him.
Yeah.
I love that. I want to hear the audiobook version of that. Like, I'm curious how they do that. I haven't heard the audiobook yet.
It's cute.
It's cute.
Yeah.
It works really well, I think.
Nice.
Nice.
So, Kristen, do you have predictions or do you want me to go first?
No, yeah, you go first. I don't remember.
So my 2 predictions. The first one is that Renarin is going to be one of the Radiants. I feel like his whole training session and getting... Well, first off, real quick, Adeline's whole thing about taking the duel so seriously and just like beating the crap out of that one guy in like 10 seconds was fantastic. But just giving his Shardblade, the Shardblade to his brother, and his brother now has a full suit and he's going through training, and how the Sword Master is like, this is going to be like the best guy I've ever trained because he actually listens. I don't know. I just have the sneaky suspicion that Renarin's going to be really, really important.
I agree.
That's one theory. And then around that same time, Kaladin, when he's kind of guarding over the practice field, there's a line about how the king can bestow like the extra shard blade he has upon whoever he wants. And I'm wondering if that's going to come into play with Kaladin's storyline at the end. I feel like Kaladin has to go through crap in this book just because of Amaram and Sadeas and his just massive prejudice. Like, I feel like Kaladin frustrated me so much when we have Kings because he was so depressed, and now he's frustrating me so much because he's so like prejudiced. And I feel like that's just gonna bite him really badly in this book, but he'll probably come back around and save someone from Zeth and get a Sarge blade. That's my theory.
For the third time?
Yeah. Well, now they'd be like, you have to take it. You don't have a choice.
I like going back to your Renarin theory. I like Renarin a lot. I think I was talking to maybe Leslie in her Discord about it, but he's like becoming. I'm like rooting for him as like an underdog character.
Yeah,
it's hard not to like an underdog character in general, and I'm just like, come on, little buddy, you can do it. You can rise up.
Yeah.
You can be a ferocious fighter.
Yeah, how great is it that he's in the medieval world and has glasses? Like, you just don't see that much.
Yeah.
Michael Nip. Who's Michael Nip?
Michael Nip, get out of here. Who's that guy?
We miss you, Michael.
Aw, that's a cute prediction.
Frodo, the little guy, saves them all.
Yay!
I might be okay with that. Okay, so Renarin and Adolin's little conversation right before Adolin's duel. You guys remember that?
Which one? Sorry.
Say that again.
Renarin and Adolin's little conversation before Adolin's duel. Adolin's like, "Did you talk to your sword?" And Adolin's like,
"Did you eat chicken?
The whole conversation.
Did you eat your chicken today?"
It was hilarious. But also just kind of showed that like they have a really good brotherly relationship, which I didn't really get that perspective in the first book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like sort of told that, you know, Renarin, he still admires his brother, even though Dalinar is like amazed by that. He's like, I would have been so jealous of Adolin if I was Renarin at their age. Yeah. And Renarin just has a lot of character about that. Mm-hmm. He's got no problem like worshiping his older brother, essentially.
Yeah. Adolin is the older one, right?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Good night, Michael.
Thanks for dropping in, Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Michael.
You're probably laughing hysterically at all of our bad predictions.
You're going to love all these predictions. Oh, Leslie has something to say.
Okay. Got it. Adolin talks to his sword because Zahel is, I think, Vasher, who talks to Nightblood.
Oops, sorry.
Crap! I can't remember who's Vasher.
I don't remember who Vasher is either.
So
yeah,
this
Leslie,
is
help
from Warbreaker, and
I haven't read that.
All right, I'm only on chapter 7, so I think I met Vasher in the first chapter, and I think you're right.
Oh,
so
okay, interesting. I haven't read Warbreaker.
Yeah, I need to read. I was trying to read it before we got to Words of Radiance, and it just didn't happen.
Same.
Michael was the one saying that Warbreaker has a lot of connections to Stormlight, right?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people have told me that. Ramsey keeps telling Ramsey's like, oh, just keep reading Warbreaker. You're going to love it. And I'm like, I know, I want
to.
Yeah, I meant to get to that too, because someone had said in our live streams that there were Words of Radiance tie-ins with Warbreaker, but it did not happen.
Yeah. Ramsey is like the master at Stormlight art, or not just Stormlight, but like Cosmere lore. Like he did a video a couple weeks ago and breaking down like how it all works, and it's so good.
Yes.
I liked Ramsey's shard video.
Yes.
Talking about the shards.
Me too. I should have linked that down below. It's not linked there now, but I will link that down below afterwards because it is in the Stormalong 2020 playlist as well.
Nice.
That's a great video.
Ramsey's the man.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. So there's a lot in Oathbringer too. Okay, cool.
Fun.
Yeah.
I keep staring at Oathbringer on my shelf, and it's just such a big book.
I know.
I think that's like the shortest amount of time we have to read one of the books. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh no.
Okay, I guess it's shortest if we want to like finish a tiny bit early to like start reading Rhythm of War right when it comes out. I think then it turns into like a 6-week read.
It's doable. I think
Oh yeah,
you could do it in 6 weeks. That's doable.
I think so.
I'm hoping that we can like all immediately get Rhythm of War or pretty quickly and then do like a follow-up show about Rhythm of War in like, I don't know, January or something. I don't know if we can do it though.
That's
That'd be
gonna
cool.
my Christmas vacation is reading Rhythm of War.
Yeah, that would be
That's
cool. Christy.
vacation.
And I think 2021 will be reading everything else of Sanderson's just because I want to see all these connections you guys are talking about.
Thank you, Ramsey. Thank you. We appreciate your expertise.
Yes.
Okay, let's put out a different question. Although if you have more theories or anything to say about Shalon or more words about how you were hooked, I mean any of those, you can share all of that. Have we done favorite things yet? We haven't?
I don't
Okay.
think so.
Okay, so I want to hear all about your guys' favorite things so far. You can talk about The Way of Kings as well. And yeah, favorite action scene, favorite interlude. I talked a little bit about interludes already. But not my favorite interlude. Favorite scenes, favorite settings, any of your favorites.
Christy, I feel like you're about to break out into these are a few of my favorite things.
Yes. Another of my favorite songs, slightly below Victoria's composition.
Speaking of Victoria's compositions, no pressure, Victoria.
Oh
I
no.
would love to see you compose like the Parshendi songs that they are doing.
You know what? People have already done that like way better quality than I'm capable of doing. There's like I
Really?
discovered from Ryan and maybe some other people too. There's like a bunch of composers who have done Stormlight music, and there's some like Parshendi songs.
Soundtrack.
If you can find them on YouTube, but yeah, they're way better than quality than what I can do.
I'm sure you do an excellent one.
It's funny. I have a few things that I want to write, but like I just haven't had the time yet because I still wanted to do that scene from Way of Kings with Hoyd and Kaladin talking. But now we're past Way of Kings, so I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna get to that now. But
that's all right.
But yeah, add it to the backlog.
The flute rep scene.
Yeah.
Leslie, I love that chapter too so much. I love that. That's one of my favorites.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting to get Parshendi perspective. I did, however, like I actually struggled through those interludes quite a bit because I felt like we just had a lot. Not that they were bad or anything, just that Christy's like, how dare you? It's just like there was so much like foreign information about like how they work and how they function. So I felt like kind of like I was reading the Way of Kings prologue again, where I was like, what's happening? So that's like just like the feeling that I got from the Parshendi interludes, because I was trying to just understand like how they talk to each other and like trying to understand their motivations and stuff. It was a little bit difficult for me to understand everything. I just read those kind of slower because I was trying to figure them out.
Well, I'm right there with you, Victoria. When I saw there was 40 pages of interludes, because I was behind and I was starting to get slightly stressed. I'm like, if I skip the interludes, like, will you, one, not tell anyone, and two, will it matter? But I didn't. I read
Never skip the interludes.
Oh my gosh. Maybe it's more for rereaders. I don't know. But I was like, I love those interludes this time through.
Yeah.
I love them too. I just found the Parshendi ones hard for me to like follow sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting.
All the different forms are interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a question about that. Shall we do that really quick?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Okay, so if you had a listener form, which one, if you were able to get into the listener forums, which one would you spend the most time in? And they mentioned scholar form like in the description, but we didn't actually get it. We didn't see anyone in that one yet. So I'm sticking with the ones that we've actually seen, other than Stormform, which we haven't seen. But anyway, so yeah, which one would you spend time in? And would you risk trying out Stormform?
Probably not.
I don't know. I'm wondering if that storm form is what the Everstorm is. So probably not too.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Like that would be tied to the Everstorm.
That was my thought, is that she'll try it out and then they'll do the song call thing and they'll switch to storm form, a whole bunch of them, and that's the Everstorm. I don't know. That's just a theory.
That's a good theory. I am a stick. Yeah, I love that dialogue. I am a stick.
Yeah.
No, you're fire. I am a stick. I love that so much.
That just makes me think of I Am Groot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am Groot.
Why isn't there like booktube form? Where's that one?
Yeah. Booktube form.
I want to see the community group that sit around making YouTube videos.
No.
Yeah. It's a form, man.
Oh yeah.
The forms are interesting because it's almost like the Parshendi can only have one personality or one purpose each.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're just a one dimension of a person. And so yeah, I have a lot of questions just about like how that happened and if that's gonna change in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the idea of nimble form. I just don't remember what they use it for.
They were doing like art stuff. I think you were right. The commenter, I forget who it was.
Mm-hmm.
J-Dubs.
Yeah. Art and like maybe with scholarship and like research in the nimble form, I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of more like esoteric things.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy how, I mean, they didn't really go into details, but it's alluded to that to change forms you have to go into a high storm, which is super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I totally understood that wrong, which is entirely possible.
I missed it. Sorry, I was looking at. I was trying to read Rich's quote.
Say that one more time, Ryan.
Yeah, say it one more time.
I could be completely wrong on this, but I got the impression that in order to change to any form, you needed to go into a high storm. Is that true?
I don't think they said that. Did it say how they discovered the forms? I don't think they really said. They just said we only used to have 2 and now we've got like 6. So
yeah. I don't think think
we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Okay, let's see. Somewhere I saw Leslie say she would be in mate form.
I saw that.
Somebody else said that we need a teacher form, and I'm like, I need a teacher form too. I'm a teacher too. I'm in teacher form for most of my day.
Yes.
Nice.
I would totally pick War Form too, Ramsey, because I'm like as clumsy as Bella Swan, and I would really like the ability to heal
Not possible.
more quickly.
I get that reference now, Christy.
Yes.
Nobody's as clumsy as Bella. Not even Bella is as clumsy as Bella. She's off the charts.
But at least she's aware of her clumsiness.
Yes. So I thought something was what the interesting thing about mate form to me was in there was like a quote, I think it was before like chapter 14 or something like that from the listeners whatever of listing.
Mm-hmm.
And it described mate form as the most empathetic of the forms.
Mm-hmm.
And like from Eshonai's description of mate form, you would never guess that there was anything good about it. Like she's like, yeah, people stay in it for like a year and then they get out of it as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. And then the people who are like cool with staying in mate form, she's like, ew. Like
she's had a bad
you.
experience.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe you're right.
I think it'd be good. A good form.
Yeah.
It did just sound like though that like I just got the impression that she had a really bad experience with it and is trying to be like, no one should do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And I like the idea of being able to be empathetic. Be the most.
Oh, you were right. The storm brings on their change. Ramsey says.
Oh, thanks, Ramsey.
Ramsey
thanks,
knows
Ramsey.
the things.
Ramsey coming in strong.
They used to need high storms. Then they said they could use Stormlight and Spears to change.
I do remember that, yeah.
So a little bit of both, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Okay.
My brain's not working, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to interpret this, and
I read those Parshendi ones like late at night, so I think I was like half asleep when I read them. So I'm like, what happened with the Parshendi? I have to reread them. I think I was half asleep.
I want gemstones in my beard. Yes.
Ramsey is all about the bling.
But then you got to be careful about Kaladin.
Oh, there's the
Oh, that's gonna be. I always go back to movies, as you guys know. Like that's just gonna be epic. Like whoever, like whenever they do make this to a movie or TV show, designing kind of like they did for the dwarves and the Hobbit. You know how the different like the gemstones work, or just how the percendate are visualized. Because we all have our own idea of how they look. There's a ton of fan art, of course. Like how do they make all the audiences as happy as possible? What do they design that's true to the book as possible, while still kind of holding to our own imaginations?
Yeah.
That'll be, with any of this book, it'll be interesting, but especially how they portray the Persendies will be really interesting with like the marbled skin and all that.
Yeah. Be a lot of makeup.
Yeah, goodness.
Yeah.
Here's your budget, makeup.
And prosthetics.
I mean, I guess they did it for Lord of the Rings, like some pretty crazy stuff. So
hours, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's different. Like when you have to like do up an orc, because you just, pile all these prosthetics on. But like these are supposed to look human with just like different like colored skin and
patterns,
other adjustments. Yeah, so it's like you have to like do something that is very subtle in a way. Like it obviously be able to see it well, but you can't just like throw like tons of prosthetics on like someone's skin and then have like thick ones. It would have to be something very thin that could break easily. So I'm just going into movie maker mode right now, trying to think of all the logistical nightmares.
That's great. No, that's really interesting.
They did pull off that marbled look with Darth Maul. That's right, Leslie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Apparently that was a makeup nightmare too.
I bet. Okay, I have another listener question. I don't know. If this is like too weird, then don't worry about answering it. But I'm really curious if anybody has an answer for this. How would communication change if we used rhythms instead of expressions or inflections to kind of accompany our speech? And sometimes you don't even need speech if you have the right rhythm. Somebody mentioned the rhythms earlier and how they liked that. I forget what you said, whoever you were, but I appreciated that comment. You said something about the rhythms.
I think it would make. I think there would be less misunderstandings because when we have expressions and inflections, even though they're meant to be taken a certain way, there's still like, so if one of us says something a certain way, then another person can still misinterpret your inflection. But a rhythm, like those rhythms, like they all have a name. So it's like you can't be any more clear like how you're saying what you're saying. It's like, if you use the I'm trying to think of one now. What's a rhythm? What's like
from the book?
Yeah.
There was like betrayal.
Curiosity. There's rhythm of curiosity.
Yeah. Like someone like that. Like, there is no other way to interpret what you're saying other than through curiosity. So I think it would clarify our communication a lot more if we had something like that.
Would that put a damper on subtext though?
It could.
Yeah. Well, it reminded me of like in a movie soundtrack, like the music tells you how to feel a lot of the times.
Yes.
Hey, this is a scary scene, and here this is a funny scene. A lot of times the music will set the tone, and so to me, I kind of interpreted their speech as like they are able to set the tone for whatever they're saying, so that so like Kristen was saying, so that it can be interpreted correctly and you understand like the context of what they're saying. So yeah, I think that's a super fun detail in the Parshendi culture.
Yeah, I love that analogy, Victoria, on movie soundtracks. If for anyone who has Disney Plus, I know a lot of people don't like Star Wars: The Last Jedi, but if you go and click on that movie in Disney Plus, you have the option to watch the entire movie just with the music, no sound effects, no dialogue, no anything. And I did a little bit of that last week. and it's just so interesting getting kind of the ebb and flow, the emotional feel of the story just by music. And it's so true. Like you see the visuals and you just hear music and you get that emotional rush. So I feel like that's something that would translate into this. You just have that kind of that gut reaction in a way.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, there's like certain points in movies where you can really tell that the music is impacting you a lot. And then sometimes it's totally like you don't really think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
But
the
it
lighting of the
does.
beacons in Return of the King.
Yes.
Like,
Well, and it's interesting if you take away music from some scenes, the scene is really boring. Like nothing's happening in the scene.
Yeah.
The music is what's happening, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's so interesting.
but yeah, tangent, but
no, it's so true.
No, it's true.
I mean,
That's
to go
really
back up to the
interesting.
Beacon scene again. I mean, almost 20 years later, in Return of the King that's still one of the best scenes in the movie because of the music. But you're right, Victoria. If you take that music out, it's like, why are we watching mountains?
yeah. There's some funny like YouTube videos where oh man, what's the one? I know I'm getting off on a tangent now, but this is my last tangent. There's a funny one of they take the music out of the last Star Wars scene where they're like celebrating and stuff, and it's really funny because it's awkward and they're just like
yeah.
like this the whole time, and there's like no music happening. It's hilarious.
Yeah, music is so powerful.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
funny.
I always have thought acting would be really, really awkward because you don't have it dressed up in so many of the ways that you do in an actual movie or even a theater production when you do have the music. And yeah, that would be so awkward to me.
On that note, though, going back to the Way of Kings movie or TV show, that's going to be so fun to see the Pershendi battling singing. Like, that's something we've never seen.
Yeah, how are they going to do that?
Right. It's like,
know.
you can't really have, I mean, you could have a score and then them singing kind of juxtaposed against each other or with each other. But I'm wondering if they'll just use a lot of the Pershendi singing as like the music soundtrack for battle scenes.
I don't know. I picture it more as like chanting because if it's rhythmic, it might be more rhythmic in a movie kind of setting. And that way it's not like as distracting from like the actual soundtrack too. I don't know. Yeah. It might be more like chant heavy is what I would picture. But I don't know, you could do it a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Ooh, that's so good, Rich.
2 Steps from Hell. They have some good music.
That's what I listen to when I write half the time.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, I haven't checked that out. Is that his playlist?
Epic music.
I know he has is that from the writing playlist that he shares?
Oh, I didn't know he had a playlist.
Yeah, Sanderson has some writing playlists where I think they're on Spotify, and you can find like some of the things he's been listening to like while he's been writing whatever project he's working on. He has like a Skyward one too that's like kind of like more like electronic-ish music, and the Stormlight ones.
That's so good. Christy, you will never write the same way again after you start listening to 2 Steps from Hell while you write.
Ooh, well, that sounds exciting.
Like the best music to write to of all time.
That's always a trial for me to find the right music for my story. But then once I find it, it really helps me kind of remember what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, it's good for writing action. I'll put it that way.
Okay, that particular. Okay, that.
Yeah,
2 Steps from Hell is.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one's interesting because this is kind of what I was thinking, and some people in the comments are agreeing. I thought it would be easier to kind of project something you don't necessarily feel. Like, I thought for me, sometimes I feel a certain way, and it's hard for me to express myself nicely when I'm feeling like strongly not nice, you know? And I thought, oh man, if I could, but you could probably still do like a half-hearted rhythm or something, but you know, I don't know. I was like, maybe it would be easier to be nicer. I don't know. When you're not feeling like it, you know?
Yeah.
That brings up a good question. Like, can the Parshendi lie through their rhythms? Like, can they kind of say like use one rhythm but not actually like mean it? Or
Well,
is it
'cause-
like they can't lie? I don't know.
Like at one point, Esh and I did that. She was like out for a walk before she went to see her council people, and she wasn't feeling peaceful, but she
Starts humming. Yeah, I remember that part.
The rhythm of peace.
Humming the rhythm
So-
of peace. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And I was like, that's kind of nice. I mean, I guess I could always just start singing a hymn or something if I was wanting to feel peaceful, but I don't know. If there was like a rhythm that I knew, maybe it would help. I don't know.
Yeah. That's interesting. I'm still trying to process all that. That's good.
That's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Yes.
That just got deep.
Yes, we have lots of deep thoughts in the comments as well.
Leslie says they must be able to lie because of Ash and I's sister misled her about what she was doing.
Oh,
Yeah. So
Mhm.
they can lie, but yeah.
So they can lie.
Yeah. They have to be careful not to think about it.
So maybe it wouldn't be like super different if we were communicating this way. Maybe it wouldn't be super different. However, I think different people would be like at the top of the communication hierarchy. Like certain people would be better at it, and it wouldn't be the same people who are good at just talking.
Right.
You got to have that rhythm.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
I
good
love that.
one. Yeah.
What do you think I am? A cryptic?
Some more patterns going,
I know. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah.
I love that there's beef between different kinds of Spren, and that they like had some kind of battle or falling out, and they like don't get along. I hope we learn more about that soon.
I'm interested to see when Syl meets Pattern, because Shallan's heading that way. So that's bound to, that'll be an interesting scene, I'm sure.
Yeah. Maybe some humor in their meeting too.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Throw shade at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was in chapter 16, the Swordmaster one, when Cal and Syl are bantering, and Syl kind of jokes that she is a tiny piece of a god, and then Cal's like, haha. She's like, no, seriously. It's like, so I'm wondering like what she's exactly referring to. Like if she's straight up joking, or if it has something to do with how at the end of Way of Kings, it's like the Almighty's dead. Like, did he like? Well, how does that have anything to do with Spren at all? It was an interesting thing that just stuck with me.
Yeah, I noticed that. I might have even put a tab on that part because I think we learned either before, like a little bit before or after that Spren are part of the Surges, and so I think she's like a piece of Surge. So maybe that's what she's talking about, and because like a Surge is like a force, and that to her that's like God. I don't know, and so she's like, I'm a piece of a god. That's kind of what I interpreted.
That makes sense.
But it could be that she's part of the Almighty that we met at the end of Way of Kings. I don't know.
Yeah. As we always say, time will tell. I hope.
Read. Time will tell.
As long as Sanderson knows.
There's a lot we still don't know about the Spren and their nature.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, Spren ideas we still have. Yeah, good point, Leslie. Like they have their own little desires too.
And interesting that the Spren can't function on their own. Like they have to be symbiotic with a person to be sentient.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or else they just truly are ideas that don't have any thoughts.
We can still keep talking about Spren or whatever, anything. But I just was curious too. I know there's some people out there who love manga and graphic novels, and there might even be some artists out there. So I would love to know if you guys loved any of the illustrations, if any really stood out to you. Because I think the artwork is stunning in this series. I'm not an artist at all, but I really think it's really gorgeous. So
Yeah.
I liked...
Let's go ahead, Victoria.
Oh, sorry. No, you can go first. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so my favorite actually, we got some information in one of the pictures of pattern. There was text around the pictures of pattern.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys read the one in the like bottom right corner or so. It says, "You have no idea what I went through to recover this from the bottom of the Rosharan Ocean. You owe me a new coat," from someone named Naz.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
We haven't met that person, have we?
No, I don't think so. At least I don't remember meeting them.
But here's the
So that's the tattoos.
Yeah, but here on the tattoos thing, there's also a line from that same person. "I just spent hours watching Bridgman sketch their stupid forehead glyphs. You could have them, my friend." I'm pretty sure this is how they were designed, but this by the same person.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice. I didn't make that connection. Cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, seeing those little notes from some of those illustrations, like someone was retrieving them and giving them to some mystery person.
Yeah.
But
And of course, just awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great picture.
Yeah. That scene with Shalon, which is like, "Stop the boat. I've got these goggles and I'm going to go see this thing."
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I felt like Sanderson was trying to foreshadow something with the Santhid, because he kept talking about how there's like a relationship with the fish, and is it following the boat because it's following the fish, and and it's a whole nother world down here underneath the ocean. I was like, is this related to Shadesmar?
Right.
Is this symbolic somehow? But I couldn't figure it out exactly. Let me know if anybody has ideas.
No, I hadn't even thought about that. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, I had not either. I just thought it was just like, the mystery of the ocean, that there's so many creatures that like you can't even discover, that nobody even knows exists because they can't go like deep enough.
Yeah. And it just shows a great portion of Shalon's character. Like she was serious because she was scholarly, but she was also having kind of fun with it too. And I think that's a scene that would not get cut out of the Words of Radiance movie.
Oh, is that another video we're gonna get?
Hey.
I'm scared to even try Words of Radiance. It was hard enough trying to get Wave Kings on the 50 scene.
Let's see. So one of my favorite illustrations, you guys probably can't see it. It's probably pointless to try and show you, but I loved the illustrations of the different stances.
Yeah.
There we go. That was so
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was
Love
really
that.
cool too.
Yeah. That's right before Adeline's duel, right? Is that where that is in the book?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I loved that scene so
Yeah.
much. That was my favorite, my second favorite Adolin scene. I still am, I'm sorry for all the Adolin fans out there, but I'm still not a big fan of him. But I love this scene, and I love the scene when he like supports his dad after they are betrayed by Sadius in the last book.
Well, Michael isn't here to defend him this week.
Yeah. I'll leave it at that since we don't have the big Adolin fan here tonight.
I love those pictures too because they show like the different, like how shard blades aren't just, they're swords, but they're not what we consider traditional, like two-handed swords from medieval fantasy, whatever. Like they have like weird edges and curves, and
you can hold them different ways.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And it reminds me a little bit of like, here's the nerddom coming out again. It's, lightsabers, the whole idea of it is, it's a blade of light. So you don't have the hard metal kind of weight to swing. It's, it's very light. And they always say, like Dallin or everyone says that, wielding a shard blade is so interesting because unless you're, hitting a shard blade against a shard blade, it like passes through everything. So just the whole balance of it is so different.
Yeah.
It just makes me wonder, like, since the shard blades are all different, sizes and shapes, like, do you really have to like learn specifically how to use a specific one, or does kind of that knowledge
translate to other shard
blades too?
Yeah.
So I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah. All the different stances and like the way Sanderson describes like moving into this one and I'm moving to that one. It reminds me of that famous fencing sword scene from Princess Bride, where they're kind of like, "Oh, you're using this against me. Oh, I thought it was fitting," and like they're discussing while they're fighting each other. They're discussing their fencing styles. Like, I'm using this attack and this defense, and that's what made me think of like mid fight. They're changing their styles. That's what made me think of.
I am not left-handed.
Oh, Love
that
Princess
scene, too.
Bride.
Me too.
Yeah.
The book. Have you any of you read the book? By any
Yes,
chance?
I've read it.
Oh, good. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's like
It is
you can
good.
tell they drew from that book a lot for the
Yeah.
movie.
I'm glad they did. Yeah,
Yeah, me
it's
too.
a good book.
Yeah, it's a very good book. So there's another conversation going on in the comments that I missed, but it's something to do with Yasna's trunk and
So
stuff.
yeah, so Jess about books. If you want to find, she noticed there's 2 different handwriting styles. I think with on some of the sketches with she's with Naz. I think is what she's referring to. She says one I assume is Shalon's because it appears in what we assume is from her sketchbooks in book 1. So yeah, there's somebody else, I guess, interacting with her sketchbook and writing on it, maybe.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
I did not notice that about the handwriting styles. That's
Yeah,
really
me
interesting.
neither. That's a really good catch.
Yeah,
Huh.
good detail oriented reading there.
Yeah.
Thanks for popping in. I don't know if you're still here.
It's
That
good
was
to hear that it's so good.
Yes. Thanks for not spoiling. Okay, let's see here.
So on that note, Christy, the question you just put back up. So on the video I did with turning Way of Kings into a movie, I actually got a lot of comments on people saying that Way of Kings as an anime or an animated is their preferred way to see a potential movie, which that was interesting to me. I never even thought of that.
Wow, me neither.
That is interesting. I know Victoria was watching Avatar. Did you finish Avatar?
Yeah, we did finish
You finished it?
Avatar.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
so I've heard some people say that they were concerned about the live action one because they think it's better as a cartoon. And I can kind of see why. Like, I think it's great as a cartoon. It's like ideal to have their expressions so expressive, for the humor. And with Stormlight Archives, I feel like some of the powers, they would be kind of cool in cartoon form. I feel like, yeah, I'd be interested to hear anybody's thoughts on that. Actually, I should have made that.
Yeah, Ramsey said, "Yeah, I want it animated." Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Huh. That didn't even occur to me. I mean, you have so much more freedom maybe that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
to do certain things.
Too.
But I definitely see it as live action in my head.
Yeah.
But just because I feel like it has to be like not that animated can be really epic too, and like feel like it's on a grand scale. But to me, like a live action would be able to feel more like real, maybe like more realistic, and I could get that like epic sweeping feeling like a Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, there were
What do you guys
for Lord
think?
of the Rings. There was an animated version, and there was a live action version. Now the live action version was made in the 70s, and a lot of other things were going on. And I'll just leave it at that.
The animated.
Oh yeah, sorry, the animated one. Yeah, the 70s.
Yeah. I never thought about that either, but I typically, I guess, I typically connect better to live action because I'm watching real people act, as long as they're good. Yeah.
I think that was Michael's opinion too, that I could be misquoting him. I'm sorry, Michael, when you're watching this later. Be like, stop talking, Christy. So I think he said that in order to really appeal to a mass American market, it would be better live action than cartoon. Animated, I mean. So I'm not sure though. I think if that is the case, I kind of agree with that. I feel like more people would go to watch an epic, realistic, like live action one rather than an animated one. Because animated people in this country still tend to think animation equals children's, and this is not a children's story.
Well, and animated is animated and anime are more of niche, I guess, crowds, I guess, so to speak. Whereas live action is has more global appeal to it. So if you're investing a ton of money into making it, you'll probably want the greatest return for it, which is why live action would probably be what they would do. It would be much more expensive that way, but you probably appeal to more fans.
I think I would agree with that. Although I love animated movies too, and like I see a few people have mentioned like if it's Studio Ghibli or Ghibli, I never say that right. But yeah, I could see like in that kind of style it working. But I do think that appeals to a certain crowd too. I don't think that style like really appeals to the masses necessarily.
Well, and it's fun if you do like a quick YouTube search on just like Wave King scenes. There's people who just like in their basements have put together their own little animated movies of certain scenes of Wave Kings, and it's fun to see that way. I mean, it's rough animation, but I mean, it's fun to see a version of some of our favorite scenes on a screen, even if the animation is a little rough.
Yeah.
I would watch it either way.
yeah, definitely.
I'd probably buy it either way.
Yeah.
This has to be a good adaptation.
Yes.
Yeah.
As long as it's good.
Yeah. I've said this a few times in the live streams, but I really think that how Wheel of Time does is going to dictate how a lot of these bigger fantasy stories are made. If Wheel of Time, one, is adapted well, and two, really finds an audience, I think that'll open the door for more of these like epic fantasy like books in the same way that Lord of the Rings did that in the early 2000s. We saw an influx of fantasy movies after that. And I think like Wheel of Time will do that for TV shows. If it's good, we'll probably see a lot more fantasy TV shows. We will see.
Yes, we will see.
Yeah.
Okay, before we move on to our open mic, I wanted to shove my favorite question in your faces. Everybody's like, no, not this one. So I just wanted to say though, okay, so if you have any thoughts on the morality, any kind of moral arguments going on in the story, I love that everybody has such different opinions in these books. So, and I wanted to talk about, let's see, where is it? Okay, so I this is actually part of the theories question. I answered it under the theories question, so it's kind of leaned towards that. But I love that Brandon will make not necessarily a moral argument about a character, but like everybody will have a different opinion on each other character. So in one scene, you know, he'll have Adolin, Renarin, Syl, and Kaladin in one of the practice bout scenes. And I know there's readers who love Adolin and there's readers who love Renarin, and a lot of people who don't on either side. So what does Sanderson do about it? He has Syl dislike both brothers because they wear shard plate, even though she likes Dalinar, who also wears shard plate. And he has Zahel, the
Swordmaster.
Yeah, he compliments one brother and reprimands the other brother. And Cal is kind of divided on both brothers, even though he kind of hates Adolin at sometimes. But he also remembers that Adolin stopped somebody from bullying. So all of these characters feel very differently about each other, and they're all kind of growing in Words of Radiance more so than in Way of Kings, because we were just getting introduced to everybody. So I just wanted to point out. I just wanted to take a minute to appreciate that about Sanderson's writing. It's like so complex, and we all have different opinions on these different characters, which is just so, I think it's hard to do, like, to do it well. So
Definitely. Yeah, very hard to do. And he also puts, like, if you have a character with a problem with light eyes, he puts that person with light eyes, you know, in a situation where he has to interact with light eyes. So I think that's also really awesome that he does. And he, like, makes characters face their prejudices.
Yes.
Yeah, like all of Dalinar and Kaladin scenes are super interesting because Dalinar is like, I really shouldn't trust this guy, but like I'm just gonna go with my gut and trust him. And Kaladin's like, I shouldn't like this guy, but he did save us. And they kind of like cautiously like tiptoeing around each other.
Yeah. Would the Parshendi be so mad and antagonistic if the Parshmen weren't treated so badly?
Oops, sorry.
What
Are
do
they
you guys
upset
think?
about that? I don't remember now. Do they?
So the Parshmen are the ones in slave form,
Yes.
and then the Parshendi.
But
I don't know. I feel like the whole war was brought on by the Parshendi. They talked about that in Eshonai's interlude.
Yeah.
Well, they keep referring to that Gavilar is supposed to do something very dangerous, but they
Right.
used to know what that is.
Something he
They
was
did
going
it
to
on
do
purpose.
that would bring their gods back, and they say they were trying to prevent that. And then I guess we have a gap in understanding how the Parshmen in slave form became so proliferated throughout the society. But
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember now in the Parshendi interludes if she gives some kind of indication on their thoughts about that. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Does Eshonai have like, is there any type of narrative in her interludes where it's like how she feels about the Parshmen? I just don't remember.
I don't
I
remember
don't either.
I just remember her talking about slave form as not actually being a form, like it's a lack of form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder more if we haven't learned why they're there or how they got there, did they do that of their own volition, like to remain in the society, were they sent that way? And it was like, where the inside, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't
know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Question mark.
Question
As we've said a few
mark.
times, time will tell.
Yeah.
As long as we keep reading and Sanderson keeps writing.
Oh yeah, Kaladin will have a point with Amaram where he needs to reconcile or work with him in some way. Yeah, I definitely could see that happening very soon.
Yeah. I don't even want to know what's going to happen with that. It's going to be messy.
Yeah. I would love any predictions of what's going to happen with Cal and Amaram, actually. That was a big one when I was first reading it. I was like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I think we're more likely to see Kaladin not kill Amaram and to like have some kind of like they have to work together. But I don't know. I could also see it going the other way too. And Kaladin
I feel like
killing
Corey
him.
has to be like one extreme or the other. He has to like kill him and like pay the consequences, or not kill him and just deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there can be no middle ground here.
Something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Something dramatic.
I just hope Kaladin isn't as annoying in book 3.
Are you still annoyed by Kaladin?
Yeah. Okay, I love him in the second half of book 1. But now, because he was like super depressed at the beginning of book 1, and then he grew as a character. And now he's just super angry and prejudiced, and he's annoying me again.
The man has feels about justice.
He does have feels. I guess the thing I don't like as much is that Dalinar has barely been in it. Like, he's been there as a presence, but like, I want more Dalinar POV.
Just you wait.
I know.
I know we have a whole 1,000-page book about Dalinar coming up.
It's coming. Don't worry. Okay.
Well, if Dalinar dies anytime soon, I quit.
I'm done. Throw the book across the room.
Okay. Also, let's see. I also wanted to talk about. I don't know if this is interesting to you guys or not, but this is back to the morality thing. Let me get that back. So, I think it's really interesting that Brandon. I feel like he can kind of hit you hard with character decisions. Like he doesn't like pull back necessarily. Like people get hit hard in his fiction, especially towards like if you've read the Mistborn trilogy or anything else by Brandon that's more finished than this, you can kind of see that. But because nobody is perfect and everybody's flawed and they make flawed choices, and there is a spectrum of that in Words of Radiance, but we're not there yet. So maybe this would be better to talk about later. But I just wanted to say also that I love how Brandon manages to portray people as flawed and allow them to make their flawed choices, and yet he handles our hearts carefully. He doesn't allow our hearts to be mangled.
Except for Yasna.
But he's not really dead.
Okay, we'll go
Like
with
I
that.
said,
She's not
he
really
can
dead.
be hard-hitting. He can be hard-hitting, but I just feel like it's different than literary fiction, which sometimes I love literary fiction. Mostly I love classics. But literary fiction, they do not hesitate to mangle your heart.
Right.
That's
in pursuit
true.
of the truth.
Oh
And I
yeah.
feel like Brandon's just, that's what I love about Brandon. He does always try to stay true to a character and allow them to like live out a truth. And they have an arc of some kind. I mean, yeah, they have
Yeah.
an arc, but he doesn't always just smash your heart to pieces. So I love that.
Right.
Mhm.
It's like in Sanderson's works, when a character dies, especially a love character, the story earns it. It's not just there for the sake of it. It's like something happens and you're like, yeah, I'm terribly sad, but the story needed that in order to be the best story it can be.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Which is still hard, but it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars Episode 4.
It had to happen.
Had to happen. Oh, so Leia K says, "Oh, right, Dalinar has the doom counter. How is that going to play out?" I love that. It's the ticking clock aspect. I think John Truby talks about that.
Oh, yeah.
And now we have, time is of the essence, and it's like there's a deadline. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to, and it just makes the stakes that much higher.
Well, and the other mystery is we don't know whose death. It just says death follows. It doesn't say who or what kind of death it is.
Right.
So we could think, Dalinar is definitely one possibility, but it could be someone else.
I was thinking Everstorms, honestly.
Like everyone's dead.
Yeah.
or it could be even a warning of if you fail, death follows.
Ooh.
She's like, I'm not saying anything.
I'm saying nothing. La-di-da. I'm just going to put this here and we can continue talking.
I have a question. I
Yes.
want to know, how does Rich find these comments so quickly and so perfectly?
Oh, the quotes?
Yes.
Yes.
I am super
He's
impressed.
always ready to go. Ready to go with the quote.
I think he has the book memorized.
I have a
Maybe.
theory about this. He talked about having quotes on like a computer screen, and I think he probably can search by keyword and maybe post it in here, which is a really smart way to do it.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
us know your
Regardless,
magic.
one way or
Rich.
another, it's pretty impressive how he always has the right quote like instantly.
I know.
Yes.
He says Kindle highlights exported
Kindle
and ready to go.
Yes.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
Nice. Love it. Coming in clutch.
Jess liked the countdown too.
You felt like you were under pressure too. That's hilarious. I have to keep reading. I only have 62 days.
Well, and it's crazy. Like, I don't know if you can see on the screen, but where me and Kristen's bookmarks are, it's like, it seems like so much has happened, but like, what is going to happen that rest of it?
I
It's
know,
like,
it's barely.
I know.
yeah.
It almost
Barely
feels like we've read a
scratched
whole
the
book.
surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if it was normal all through, whatever.
Yeah. We've read a young adult book so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've only scratched the surface.
Should I
I
read
have not read
Edgebringer?
Answer or Oathbringer, yes. I don't know.
I'm not sure either.
Check the publication dates. I would just read it in publication order.
I think Ed's Answer did come out before Oathbringer. I think. Michael, I think, has read Edged Answer.
I think it's after Words of Radiance in publication order. I
Okay.
think.
Michael was referring it to Stormlight 2.5, so that's, I guess, I would assume that.
Rich was like, all right, open mic, here's all my quotes. Oh, Rich says read it before Oathbringer.
Okay.
So that's 2 books to read before Oathbringer? Warbreaker and Edge Dancer? Is that right?
Well, Warbreaker is in a different world.
Oh,
completely.
I thought someone said earlier.
Yeah, there's overlap. They're in a
Okay.
different it's in a different series technically, but it's in the same universe.
It's in the Cosmere.
Okay.
Yeah. So we don't have that book yet.
Right.
I did accidentally buy the Arcanum Unbound book. Mainly so I can read
Accidentally.
it. That's I think where you can read it.
I have that too. Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to get my copy.
Alrighty. Well, it looks like we're about talked out. So I think this is a good place to stop.
This is a good discussion.
This was a good discussion. Thank you
Yes.
everybody who came. This was really, really fun.
Yes, thank you everyone. Comments are awesome.
Yes, your comments are awesome. Your quotes are awesome. Your theories, they're all amazing. Thank you.
I do
And
wonder a lot of times when we give theories, Christy and Michael when he's here, like, because I'm sure some of the theories that we give, you guys know the answers to, probably most of them, and some of them just haven't been answered yet in the series. And I wonder a lot of times which ones you guys are like, I don't know either.
Yeah.
good. That means we're not revealing too much.
Well, I also try not to like.
Oh, not at all.
When we're doing
Oh,
theories.
good.
You guys have
I will-
great poker faces.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, so next meeting will be August 27th, and it will be at the same time, 6 p.m. PDT, which is Pacific Daylight Time, and 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we will be reading through chapter 46. So,
26 chapters.
yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I keep forgetting about, because I try to like parcel out my reading, it's like, oh, if I read like 2 chapters a day, I can stay at like a good pace. But then I forget about the interludes. And all of a sudden I got 40 pages I wasn't accounting for.
I know.
I know. That drives me crazy sometimes because I'm like, I can finish this today. And then I'm like, it's going to have to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always forget about the interludes, but I love the interludes. They're worth it. They're worth the time.
Yeah, they are.
Yes, I do love the interludes.
Thanks, guys. You guys are awesome too. The comments are
Yeah.
so good.
Thank you, guys. Oh, the date is
August 27th?
August 27th.
Yeah.
Here, I'll type it in really quick. Oh, thank you. August 27th
Nice.
through chapter 46. 46.
Yeah, and you said 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, and 8 p.m. Michael Nip Time.
Yes.
Nip time.
Truthless. Awesome.
MKT.
Okay.
Cool.
Yes. That's funny. That took me a second. Sorry. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Okay. All right.
All
Yes,
right,
you're
friends.
welcome. Alrighty. Thank you so much for coming, guys. This was awesome.
Thanks,
And I'll talk to you
guys. See you in a couple
Bye,
weeks.
friends.
Bye.